In 2017, my niece Amina died in her sleep at the age of 16 due to an enlarged heart which caused sudden death. And she's not alone. Did you know that 1 in 4 people die of heart disease in the United States every year? Hi, my name is Dr. Sharon Pickford at Personal Touch Chiropractic, and I don't want you to become another statistic. If you are experiencing muscle spasms, ringing in the ears, heart fluttering, or pounding of the heart at night, you may be a candidate for the heart sound recording evaluation. The HSR is a low-risk general wellness cardiac stress monitor with a specialized microphone strategically positioned to hear and record the sounds of the heart valves. The HSR monitors certain stressors by recording the rate, the rhythm, and tone of the heart's cycle. It also observes the reactions to certain chemicals, nutritional and emotional stressors, and external stimuli such as vitamins, sugar, caffeine, and alcohol. If you or anyone you know is interested in a free consultation, contact us and let's make your heart healthy.
All right. Dr. Pickford is a native of Los Angeles, California. She has 25 years of combined experience as a licensed occupational therapist and a chiropractor. She earned her BS in occupational therapy at Loma Linda University and her doctorate in chiropractic from Cleveland Chiropractic College of Los Angeles. She also acquired her certification in applied clinical nutrition from Southern California University of Health Science. Everyone, please welcome Dr. Pickford.
Thank you, Rachel. All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And some people will be jumping on as we progress through the webinar. My goal is to continue educating the public on health and nutrition and wellness. So we have a disclaimer that I have to say. I have to show. The disclaimer is the statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, basically. This device and the information presented here is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. Okay? All right. Okay. So the principles of the heart sound recording. First of all, the little device that you saw, it monitors certain types of heart stress by recording the rate, the rhythm, and the tone of the heart cycle. And we're going to go into all of those three. It assists the healthcare provider in observing the heart's reaction to certain chemicals, nutritional, and emotional stressors. It also monitors the heart's response to external stimuli such as vitamins, sugar, caffeine, and alcohol by observing the changes in the frequency, the ratio, the amplitude, and other characteristics of the heart wave. Hold on a sec. It also provides a comparison graph that can help determine the effectiveness of the actions taken to improve quality. So I may do a graph one day and then have you come back 2 weeks later, and then we can compare the two to see if there's improvement. This gentleman's name is Dr. Royal Lee. And Dr. Royal Lee is the one who designed that actual machine. He was a dentist and he was an engineer, and he designed a lot of different tools in the dentistry, but he also is the person who designed a lot of nutritional supplements, which I use in my practice today. And when you look at a lot of his writings back in the 50s and the 40s, we still use a lot of those supplements today. And when you read his scripts and stuff, it's like, oh my God, it was like he could see in the future. So he's saying here, from our experience since 1930, acting as a clearinghouse for nutritional information regarding the heart, we can say that we can find no condition, either directly or indirectly, so responsive to nutritional therapy as that which is reflected in heart conditions. And he was way ahead of his time. I mean, he was, of course, observed by, I want to say, I don't want to say it because it's going to be recorded, but he was observed and wasn't well taken because he was ahead of his time. Okay. Mm-hmm. The heart sound recorder is a low-risk general wellness cardiac stress monitor with a specialized microphone strategically positioned to hear and record the sound of the 4 heart valves. And you'll see a picture of that. Okay. So these are the areas where I place the monitor. And these are 4 different valve placements of the heart. Okay. And they're in different positions because people always want to know. The heart sound recording allows clinicians to see what they cannot hear. Most heart sounds are below the audible ear range of the human ear, even the stethoscope. The HSR, which is the heart sound recording, is unique because it is tuned to the frequency of the heart. Therefore, it captures only the sounds made by the heart without interference from other sounds in the body. The HSR meets the FDA classification of a low-risk general wellness device and bears the ETL listed mark for product safety. Okay, that's right. Okay, so there's 3 key indicators of the heart health and function. Your nervous system controls the rate of your heart. A lot of people don't know that, but the nervous system controls the rate at which your heart beats. The optimal resting rate for your heart to beat is between 60 and 80. That's just if you're sitting like we're looking at a Zoom. It should be about 60 to 80 beats per minute. And then you have something called where your brain breaks. So you have the brain, you have there's an extension of your spinal cord. The extension of the spinal cord is the autonomic nervous system, which is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system manages your fight or flight. So you're afraid, you're scared, you're zooming in a red Corvette, blah, blah, and you're accelerating. Your parasympathetic nervous system, because again, 2 nervous systems you have, the fight or flight, and then you have the rest and digest. So now you just had a big turkey meal. Now you want to sleep. Now you're resting. So that's your other part. So it's almost like a yin and a yang. The body has a yin and a yang. One is just opposite from the other. But sometimes you can be too yang and you can be too yin, or you can be too sympathetic. You can be always, you don't want to be like that. Or you can always be too, like you Snoop Dogg and always chilling. You always want to have that balance, okay? So the rhythm. Now, we've all probably danced before and been with somebody that don't have no rhythm, right? Okay, so I'm going to go up here right quick. I like to say this is big brother and this is little brother. This is a normal heart graph. This is what I do, okay? Normal heart graph. So here, this is big brother. He has about 3 spikes. It should look like an accordion, nice and dark. And then he contracts. Then this is little brother. He relaxes. This line should be twice as long as that one. So blood is filling up. So that's one whole cycle. Then you've got it again. Love, dub, right? Okay. So the rhythm of your heart pertains to how regularly your heart beats. Each heartbeat has 2 sounds. Love, which is big brother. Dub, which is little brother. These should, and I don't have to be animated about these because I don't want to lose people. These should be in a steady, consistent rhythm. Okay. So you don't want to do love, dub, dub, dub. Love. Then 10 minutes later, dub, you want to go love, dub, love, dub. That's the rhythm you want to hear, right? Okay. So on the graph, this rhythm should show a specific work to rest ratio. Your heart should rest twice as long as it works. This is rest. That's work. Okay. Observations are made to see if your heart is working too hard or not resting enough. I had that problem. This wasn't resting enough. It was still shaking. And I wasn't sleeping well. Now we want to look at the tone. We all know what tone is, right? The flabby thighs, flabby underarms. The heart can get the same way. If you don't exercise that heart, the tone will decrease, okay? So the tone of your heart refers to the strength of the ventricle contraction, which is this here. I've had people where you hardly saw one line. You want to see at least 3, okay? And it's not that dark, it's lighter. So I have to work with them on certain supplements so we can change that and, of course, encourage more walking or some exercise. So the tone of the heart refers to the strength of the ventricle contractions. I look at the height. Is it high enough? Sometimes it's real. Like big brother can look like little brother sometimes on some of my graphs. That's a problem. The height, and I look at the width. Is from here to here pretty good? Or is big brother like way out here? You know, like way out here. So we want it to look like an accordion. Okay. So, so the height and the width of the love dove sounds on the graph shows that efficiently your ventricles are ejected during systole. Okay. As with any wellness device, you should only undertake lifestyle changes applied by using this technology with the guidance of a licensed physician, therapist, or holistic health practitioner. Findings from this evidence can be used to support, but should not be used in place of other medical therapies and recommendations. Okay. So again, we had talked about the autonomic nervous system, right? It controls the rate at which your heart beats. And of course, we talked about there are 2 sides to the autonomic. Sympathetic, and then the parasympathetic, it slows it down. The sympathetic is the accelerator in your car. The second one is the parasympathetic. That's the brakes. Stop. Let's relax. Okay. I call it still the yin and the yang of the body. Some functions such as digestion, heart rate, blood pressure are directed by the autonomic nervous system, which is those 2 systems we just talked about. Now, the only way those 2 systems can work optimally is unless they have proper diet, nutrition, minerals, and other factors. But diet and nutrition is crucial for that to work. Okay. And so I look at the autonomic nervous system as, some of you probably remember when you had a stick shift, right? Remember you had to put it in drive, and you had to put it in neutral, and you had to put it in reverse. But with the other automobile car came, it's automatic. You don't have to do that, right? So think of the autonomic nervous system similar to that. Okay. So this is a picture that I took with my phone from something I had in my office. And so I just wanted you to get an idea here. Remember the parasympathetic is your brakes. The sympathetic is the accelerator. All right. And so when you look at the spine, go all the way down, the green represents the brakes, the blue. But what I really want you to focus in on is to see how every single organ has been innervated by these 2 systems. Extremely important. If you don't feed that system food, nutrition, and minerals, you're going to have problems. Okay? Over time, you're going to have problems. So this tests the muscular strength of the ventricle valves. So we're really looking at the valves in the heart. You have 4 of them. So on the HSR graph, the tone of the heart can be observed by the height and the width of the 2 beats made by the heart and love dove. And I don't want to bore you with this, but I'm just kind of repeating some of the stuff that I said already. So the first sound, which is love, okay, right here, that's the first sound right there, should be about 2 to 3 times the height of the second sound. So meaning big brother need to be twice the size of this little brother. So to better explain why the 2 sounds should be significantly different, love pushes the blood through the body, big brother. Whereas the little brother, dove, allows the heart to refill and prepare for the next cycle. This is doing all the work, okay? And now you have the heart. Your heart is the most important muscle in the body. Every day, it beats 100,000 times. Can you imagine that over a lifetime? Sending 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels every day. That heart is working a lot. It is also the first muscle that responds to nutrition, but it's also the first muscle to respond to bad nutrition. To function optimally, it is vital that the heart have the proper nutrients to maintain its correct rate rhythm, and tone. Again, that's what I look for when I do this. Your rate, your rhythm, your tone. In 2007, about 125 young athletes died from an enlarged heart. Enlarged hearts, biggest cause of sudden death in young athletes. And they don't even have to be athletes, because my niece wasn't an athlete. Experts want more screening. And unfortunately, we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of this because of the nutrients that we are not getting in our foods. New York, having an enlarged heart is the biggest cause of sudden death among young athletes. And some experts say more and better screening is needed. Come see me. Too often, heart problems that can cause an irregular heartbeat and sudden death are missed because there isn't enough uniform screening of athletes, said Dr. Lori Moscott, director of preventative cardiology in New York Presbyterian Hospital. So let's talk about the vitamin Bs. And do you really need them? Many people take either a multivitamin or some kind of B vitamin on a daily basis, making them two of the most common supplements used today, every day, right? Our bodies are designed to assimilate real food for growth and repair of organs and tissues, not synthetic chemicals, which normally most people end up purchasing. If it doesn't say something about it grows on a farm or it comes from some kind of plant, 90% of the time you're getting synthetic, and the body cannot, the autonomic nervous system cannot survive. Okay? Over time, you become depleted and malnutrition. So I'm going to give you a sample of the graph. Okay, so we talked about a normal graph, big brother, little brother, right? We talked about how big brother is doing all the work, and little brother, he just kind of chilling on a Mai Tai at the beach. He's filling the heart back up, and then we start the cycle again. Big brother, little brother, big brother, little. So the rhythm, we got it. The speed looks pretty good. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of extra little brothers and a whole lot of extra big brothers. So we're doing good. The average rate is about 72 beats per minute. A healthy person, you want to stay between 60 and 80. Okay, rhythm looks good. We're looking at the beat. Okay, the work, and we're looking at the rest, the work to rest ratio. That looks pretty good too. And then we want to look at the tone. Looks really, it's like an accordion right there. Got 3 peaks, loving it, loving it. Next one, same thing. Okay, big brother doing good, little brother, he all right, he all right. Okay, so now again, we got the normal graph. Then we had a person that came in. Okay, 330, big brother, but what's going on? Something going on with the work part. Then little brother got 3 peaks, and he's not resting that well. The blood is supposed to be filling up. Okay, let's go on to the next cycle. We got big brother. Well, where's little brother at? Is that another little brother? Okay, we really off right now. So, are you guys following me? Okay. All right. So, 2 hours later, at 3:30, we gave him some, we call it Cataplex, but it's vitamin B. Okay, 3 doses. 2 hours later, there was a significant change in this graph. Now you can see big brother and little brother, and you can see where it's filling up, where the rhythm is resting. Okay. Before that, the rhythm was off. The tone was off. He had basically one spike here. Okay. So, for anybody who participated today, Rachel's going to put a link in the chat box for our, if you want to get a free screening of the heart sound recording at no charge. It expires in 30 days. And I think that everyone should at least get at least one heart sound recording. So we'll send you the link, and let's see. And I always recommend that when you come, make sure you get plenty of rest, no coffee, a lot of water. Please relax and dress in something nice and loose. Okay? And that's basically it. You got any questions for me?
Sure. What do you recommend to begin evaluating your heart other than the monitor? That is an important part, but as far as our diets and what we drink and all of that.
Yes, definitely, a plant-based diet, but not a vegetarian necessarily. But you definitely want to have, stick with organics, try to get away from pesticides, herbicides, keep a lot of, green foods and vegetables in your diet, fruit as well, as long as you don't have any diabetic issues. Clean food, basically. You want to have clean meats, grass-fed, organics, as much as possible. I like to practice the 80-20 rule. Try to do 80% is clean. 20% is when you go to family reunions. It's the holidays. It's your birthday or whatever. You might want to go out Friday night with your girlfriends. And nobody going to be picking and choosing on all that stuff back, during that time. So 20% you kind of goof off. The 80%, you want to make sure that you control that. You want to do your juicing and all that stuff too. And you just want to, but the problem is we've been so depleted for so long. Even a basic salad today is still not going to give you all the nutrients that you need. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's good to supplement in addition to doing what I recommend. Okay. Of course, plenty of water at the same time. One of the issues with my little niece is once she was born with eczema, she was born with a lot of food allergies. She grew out of the eczema, but she still continued to have food allergies, nuts, eggs, seafood. Could not have any of that. So when my twin passed, she wouldn't stay with her dad for 2.5 years, right? Now, before my twin passed, my twin, made wholesome meals. She was the mom. She was in charge of the cooking. And, they made salads as a family, their wholesome green salads. And so she was on a regimen, right? But once she wouldn't stay with her dad, well, he had a different plan and how he did stuff. He didn't cook like my sister and everything. So I'm sure my niece had days where she just had to try to fetch for herself. I'm not saying he didn't buy food, but the type of food, the quality of food could have been significantly different. My niece had a nice hearty appetite. She wasn't overweight, but because she did have a lot of limitations as far as food, and as she was growing, she really liked to eat. So what she would do is a lot of times she would grab some bread and put some whatever on it just to kind of keep herself filled up until she got to dinner. The problem with a lot of white products and white bread is they lack vitamin Bs and a lot of other nutrients. And so when you continue to fill up on a lot of foods that have no nutritional substance, over time, your body becomes depleted and more depleted. Okay? And anything can pop up, all kind of autoimmunes, and your immune system drops and on and on and on. Okay? But the heart is the main thing. We got to have a heart. And you can live with one kidney, but you got to have your heart. You can live with parts of your colon. You can, but you got to have your heart, and you want to make sure that is working optimally. And again, what was so puzzling to me, especially when I first started studying and learning about the machine, is knowing that the heart is the first organ in the entire body that responds to positive nutrition. So you saw 2 hours later on that graph where the gentleman's heart rate changed significantly. So 3:30, you saw problems with the rate, the rhythm, the tone, and then right below that, we gave him some whole food vitamin Bs, whole food based, and within 2 hours, you saw a change. So the heart is amazing. It will change immediately if you give it the right food.
I have a question. So what made you determine to use the whole food vitamin B?
Because we have a list of supplements that we use that will complement the heart while using this machine based on how it's interpreted. And so like, say, for instance, if we want to work on tone, we know to use, we call it Catablex P Core. And so that's what we would give our clients if it's something else. So even with this graph, I can also see if you're not breaking down your protein, if you got too much carbs in you, if you're under stress, if your adrenals are overstressed. If little brother is much higher than big brother on your graph, that tells me sometimes that your adrenals are overworked. So I can see other things on the graph. This was just a short sample. Okay. I can tell if it's too much fat in the blood, just based on your graph.
So tell me again what part of the graph you were addressing with the cataplex bead?
What part of the graph? What do you mean? What valve?
So you got the big brother, the little brother, and then you have some, I can see that he has some rhythms going with the longer line. So were you addressing those rhythms there with the longer line?
Yes. So what better. So what I'm addressing is, okay, so this is contraction. This is where they're working, right? And when you look down here, there are some issues going on. It should be a nice, little longer, smooth line, right?
Right.
But also looking at, is it an accordion? Does it look like similar to this? Or we got 3, but there are 2 small ones and 1. So that says the tone of the heart is not strong enough. You need a strong heart to push that blood through. Okay. And then you want the little brother to be able to, do what it needs to do. Relax, allow the blood to be filled up so we can start the process all over again. This line should be smooth. My eyes looked like this when I first got it done. I was at a seminar right before COVID, and I never heard of this before. And I volunteered to get tested because UCLA was saying there was something going on with my heart. So I waited. I got a bunch of tests from UCLA. I didn't have the best insurance, so I was paying out of pocket. They were like, well, that came on normal. Well, that came on normal. That came, well, let's try this. I said, we ain't doing that no more. So I went to the seminar, and they asked for some volunteers in the seminar. And I said, I'll volunteer. Maybe they can find out what's going on. So I volunteered, and the guy had a huge screen, and everybody, practitioners who were all there were watching. And he did my heart graph, and he showed on my heart graph where it looked similar to this, but close, where this was just real. The rhythm was really off, and the tone wasn't as strong as it could have been. And so he said, okay, Dr. Pickford, I want you to come over here, and I want you to chew some of these supplements. They were soft. Chew them. And I want you to take a couple of these, and I'm going to retest you in about 30 minutes. I said, no water? She said, no water. Just chew her. So I did. 20 minutes later, he redid my graph, and I was blown away. My graph had changed just that quick. Wow. And I was like, oh no, I got to get this machine. Ain't this for the community? I got to have this machine. So, that, and then, I related it to my niece as well. And I said, gosh, my goal would be to be able to do this with young people, whether they're athletes or not, and just do a wellness screening on their heart and see what's going on,
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you can immediately demonstrate the nutrition, the difference in the heart rhythm, responding to the nutrition that you give someone within a short space of time. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, and I told my sister after I left, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God. You should see what happened, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, girl, I can't afford to get the machine right now. It's some thousands, And my sister, I could hear her. She was just all enthused. She was just listening. She was like, wow. And I was like, girl, but I can't get it right now. And she was like, girl, I'll lend you the money. I was like, you? She was like, yes, I'll lend you the money. We need this. I said, yeah. So she's had a couple of heart grafts, and I did a lot of people in my family, my little nephew who was a growing kid, especially with Lena being 16. I was just like, all the kids got to get tested, So yeah. And this is my passion, to be able to help people and make some changes. I have a lady from Germany I had been working with for a couple of months. She had some stents, and she was very sensitive, was on some thinners. And the good thing about it, she was extremely in tune into her body. If something didn't work well, she would either cut the dose, or she would just say, I can't take this right now. And so we went back and forth, and we finally got the dose adjusted. And so we looked at her very first graft, and then 3 months later, her other graft, her new graft. And she was just extremely amazed at how the graft had changed and how she had felt. Now she wants me to see her daughter. Had me do her daughter as well. So, yeah.
So have you had any situations where the graft is just, the heart is not responding to any of the nutrition? Is that in
No. What I find is people don't want to change. If they have a high fat diet, if they have a high level of alcohol, they have a high level of stress, they have a high level of this. Because in addition to the supplements, you got to make some changes too, right?
lifestyle change?
So,
Yeah.
right, yeah. And so if I do find someone who says they're doing the right thing, but I don't see any changes in their heart, then I just tell them I recommend, you might want to see a cardiologist. Now, I haven't had to do that a lot, but I will recommend that, But and some of them don't always do the frequency that you give them. So, I may say take 2-3 times a day or Cataplex B or whatever. And they're like, well, I just took one. I'm like, okay, well. I mean, man, if you want to see some changes, you got to stick with the program. But but that's with anything. That's with anything.
Right.
That's with anything. And then I have people who travel a lot, so you don't always have the access to the kind of foods you should be eating. So there's variables there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are all the supplements chewable?
Not all of them. A lot of them are, but not all of them.
Okay.
And you've been on a few yourself, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Good afternoon, Dr. Bifford. How are you?
Oh, hello there, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing well. I had one question. So these findings, it doesn't make a difference. It has nothing to do with age, is from what I'm gathering. You're saying it's based on the.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because and what's interesting is there's been, and not my grafts, but there's been grafts that have been performed on people in their 80s and 90s that have a better heart graft than someone in their 20s and 30s. Why? Because their nutritional foundation was different when they were younger. A lot of them could have grown up on a farm. They could have had a better diet. They didn't grow up with all the processed foods. Right. So a lot of our young people are having more issues because they're growing up on processed foods, which has no nutritional value. So no, not necessarily. Age doesn't always have anything to do with it. Sometimes, but not all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So if there's no more questions, I want to thank everybody again for participating. I enjoy educating and look forward to seeing you again. I will definitely be having more webinars.